and mimic. Global City Busan. We are in it together. This campaign is brought to you by BEFM 부산영어방송.
Today we bring to you a report on what to do in case of heavy rain. There's nothing like preparation when it comes to torrential downpour. Isn't that right?
That's right. You must turn off your gas and electricity and quickly evacuate from areas vulnerable to flash flooding.
What should we do if we are already outside?
Evacuate to a safe place, away from construction sites, underground spaces, and areas prone to frequent flooding. If you're driving, do not stop the car. Instead, slowly drive through the flooded area without stopping.
What should we do once the rain stops?
When going into buildings that have been submerged, do not touch electrical facilities and make sure to ventilate, as there is a risk of gas leakage.
We should also reduce preventable damages and prepare for disasters ahead of time by following safety guidelines.
That is correct. You can receive real-time safety information through the Disaster Safety Information mobile app, 안전 디딤돌.
Thank you for all the great information. Remember, your safety is everyone's safety. This campaign is brought to you by BEFM 부산영어방송.
The time is now 7 o'clock.
We are D-30 for the 2026 College Scholastic Ability Test, the 수능. It's a stressful time for students, but what about the teachers? With teachers' authority declining and working conditions falling by the wayside, things are tough for teachers. That's in addition to the rise in complaints from parents, which add to their emotional labor. The Korean Educational Development Institute this past Sunday released a figure. The dropout rate among students at Korea's education universities, 교육대학교, came in at 4.2% last year, marking a record high for the second year in a row. Even more telling is another stat from the Korea Federation of Teachers Associations last year. Of those who participated in that survey, only 19.7% said they would teach the teaching profession again if given the chance. So what's going on? I don't know. Let's find out. I'm Catherine. This is Morning Wave in Busan on Tuesday, October 14th on BEFM 부산영어방송. Good morning, Wavers. Welcome to our program. I hope you're doing well. And it was raining I don't know, probably right now it's probably raining still. I hope you're all doing well on this wet Tuesday morning. We are going to be following the two major stories, what's happening in Cambodia and, of course, what's also happening in Gaza. So that'll come up later on. In the meantime, November 13th. Do you know what that day is or that date? Well, it's less than a month away, D-30 basically, but for some of you, this date may not be really, significant, but for the country's 수능 test takers and their respective teachers, it is D-Day. It's coming up real soon. So once again, it's called the College Scholastic Ability Test, CSAT, or in Korean, shortened to 수능, for high school third-year students and test retakers. The final push is on. And I know that for most schools, today is the last mock exam. 마지막 모의고사 하는 학생들 오늘 많을 거예요. But for now, I want to take a look at the exam for the 2028 school year, which is the first 수능 exam with a different scoring system and a 5 tier high school grade system from the current 9. 지금은 there's 9 levels and they just changed it up to 5 levels. So with this new academic system and what it signals is according to those in the college admissions field, competition will be fierce, especially among the top students. According to 종로학원, for a student who takes the 2028 CSAT to get into Seoul National University, SNU, he or she would need to get an average level 1.6, 1.6 on all 5 mandatory subjects. Okay, that's really difficult. And this is because under the simplified 5-level system, more students will fall into that top tier, making the CSATs the last final push into getting into the top schools. So that's the picture for 2028. So that's a few years away. But what about for this year? D-30. Well, we're in that final month, and experts say that test takers don't take on new levels or question styles, but focus on completing what they know and making fewer mistakes. 그러니까 오답 혹은 실수를 줄이는 거를 집중하랍니다. This year's CSATs are expected to be on a similar level as the September mock exam, with slightly easy levels in the Korean language and the English portions. It's also all about time management to make sure you can solve the questions during the set time and to get your biorhythm set to the prime test day conditions. As the saying goes, slow and steady wins the race. And this last stretch, it's time to just kind of keep your head down and just keep going. I know it's tough, and especially for parents out there as well. Really, really tough. But yes, D-30, crunch time. Okay, it's time for a text topic. Students and test takers, they have their academic goals. But we're going to talk about another type of goal or goals. So what are your physical or health-related goals? Ooh, 내가 달성하고 싶은 건강이나 신체 목표는 네, 물론 뭐 시험 보시는 분들도 있겠지만 we're talking about like physical goals today. What are you striving for? You can send in your responses to BFM's live stream live chat on YouTube. So go to the YouTube platform, type in BEFM or 부산영어방송 to find our channel. Subscribe, log in, and chat with other waivers from your phone, pound 9050. Shop 9050, that's going to cost you 100 won. You can also reach me for free through Kakao Talk. So same thing there, you got to type in BEFM or 부산영어방송 to find us first. Add us as a friend. You're good to go. Send in your messages and also photos if you like. So the ways you can tune into Morning Wave in Busan these days, from the radio if you're in Busan 90.5 or 103.3 FM. And like I said, we're streaming live on YouTube. You can check us out multiple times if you want to at your leisure. And we're available through the BFM app and the Papang app. Both are free and easy to download. Looking ahead to our Tuesday morning, who do we have coming in today? We have Wave Sports, that's with Andrew. And then we have Bonnie with Simply Sustainable. That's in hour number 2. Our special interview today, we're going to be focusing on betting on AI. Is this a boom? Is it a bubble? Is it going to burst? Well, you might have been keeping an eye on what's going on in the AI industry, and some people very much into AI investments. So we're going to find out more about this with our expert. In hour number 2, I'll be back with News Overview. It's now 7:07, and this is News Overview. Government urges measures for Cambodia kidnappings. Foreign Minister Cho Hyun yesterday said that the government has been working on extraordinary measures, including flying back all South Korean nationals, as National Security Advisor Wi Sung-nak stressed the need for swift repatriation of these individuals. Top office says U.S. responded to parts of South Korea's tariff deal. The presidential office said that the U.S. has responded to some of the revised proposals in tariff talks, potentially including a $350 billion investment pledge, with Foreign Minister Cho Hyun adding that the U.S. has made a new proposal regarding the pledge. Financial authorities issue verbal intervention amid currency tumble. The Finance Ministry and the Bank of Korea issued a rare verbal intervention yesterday after the won tumbled to 1,431 against the U.S. dollar for the first time in 18 months. CCTV footage from presidential office released in Han Duck-soo trial. Prosecutors yesterday presented surveillance footage from the presidential office of former Prime Minister Han Duck-soo and former Defense Minister Kim Yong-hyun from the night of December 3rd martial law declaration. Gaza ceasefire deal signed in Egypt. World leaders, including U.S. President Donald Trump, have gathered in Egypt to sign a Gaza ceasefire deal as the families of the last 20 living Israeli hostages celebrate the return of their loved ones after 2 years. And this was News Overview. It's time for Now in Busan. We have Sejin in the studio. Good morning.
Morning.
I hope you're doing well.
Yeah, proper soggy weather.
I know. So it was raining when you came in too, right?
Yes.
Well, we're going to jump into our text topic. So now that you are not a student, let me ask you about your physical or health-related goals. What are they?
If I wasn't a student,
Uh-huh.
going for running for 3 times a week.
Oh, 3 times a week?
Yes.
Is there like for how long or how, meaning like the duration of the time or how far you want to run distance-wise?
Okay. Up until coming of age, I
Yes.
didn't exercise.
Oh.
But when I turned 20, I made myself a goal for running 3 times in a week. So going to the gym.
Oh.
And then now I've been a bit slacking up, but so my goal is to again get
back on to running?
get back on track.
Well, we all say fighting for your goals, right? We can do it together, right?
Yes.
Everybody fighting. All right, let's get to our first story. I heard there was a ceremony yesterday morning. What was this about?
Busan City held this torch unification and departure ceremony yesterday morning at 10 over at City Hall in the Citizens Plaza. It was for the 106th National Sports Festival and 45th National Para Games. And they brought together these 4 different flames from different places. There were a flame of hope from Kumjang Mountain, Goranbong, flame of peace from the UN Memorial Cemetery, flame of soaring from Yeondaebong on Kadok Island, and a flame of harmony from Manisan Mountain on Gangado Island. They put them all together into one big torch to kick off the relay.
I see. So we're talking about 4 sources, but now all combined to one torch.
Yes, so the torch that had been kept on the first floor of the City Hall was brought in by the final runners from each of those kindling sites. Then they were passed along one by one to the mayor, city council chair, the governor of education, and the president of Busan Sports Council. And they all combined the flames together.
I see. So what happened once the flames were kind of united into one?
The combined torch that set off from the City Hall, beginning its 4-day relay around all 16 districts and counties with about 1,200 runners taking part.
Yes.
And then on the 17th, they will lit it up at Asiad Main Stadium for the opening ceremony and keep it burning all throughout the games.
I see. So once again, it's the 17th at the Asiad Main Stadium for kind of the big flame up, right?
Yes.
All right. Thanks for giving us information on that. Let's move on and talk about the festival, which is now underway. And so basically the torch is on the move. So how is the city managing things like traffic and transportation during these events?
Yes, during the National Sports Festival and National Para Games, Busan's going to have some road controls, and they're doing this odd-even driving restrictions across the city. They've rolled out a whole traffic flow plan to help with that.
So let's hear the plan.
For the opening ceremony on the 17th, they really encourage people to just use public transport. They'll have shuttle buses running from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. around public parking areas. Now, some of the city buses and airport limousines might pause or run a bit late because of the marathon, half marathon, 10K road race, and the race walking event. Buses that go near the National Maritime Museum in Yeongdo-gu, where the triathlonists will have to take a little detour. You can check out all the road control info and any updates on the city's official website.
Right. So I do want to ask you a question, though. The shuttle buses is from 4 p.m. to what time?
9 p.m.
9 p.m. Okay,
Yes.
just to verify. Okay.
Thank you. Plus, they'll have notice on board the buses. Yes.
Yes, so that's definitely good to know. And I hear there are special shuttles for spectators too, right?
Yes, they have 2 shuttle buses running from the 7 temporary car parks, like from Busan National University of Education and the Children's Grand Park to the ASEAT main stadium.
I see.
The city is also doing these voluntary odd evening driving restrictions from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. during the festival period. So if your license plate matches the day, maybe leave the car at home that day.
Yes, definitely. Because we're talking about transportation for everybody, not just yourself.
Yes.
So you might run into some congestion. So thanks for that. All right, next let's talk about Namgu, which is getting in on the action of what? So let's talk about this.
Busan's Namgu district is putting together its own support plan to help the Ministry of Oceans and Fisheries, MOF, staff settle in. They've got this Namgu support package ready to go.
Oh, so Namgu style, what exactly is this? Because I thought the ministry's office is in Donggu, no?
True. But since Namgu is right next to the Donggu and it's got a favorable, nice residential environment, so they are expecting more people to want to live there. And to help out, Namgu is planning to reduce real estate brokerage fees through a special agreement.
Okay.
They're also teaming up with Bukyong National University to give discount on tuition for things like lifelong education. And they're even thinking about support measures to welcome kids going to kindergarten.
Oh, so we're talking about, homes, meaning, where they're going to live and school sorted out. But what about like leisure?
They're also offering some discount on local sports facilities and tourist programs around local attractions.
Okay.
And on the healthcare side, they're looking at partnering with 4 major hospitals to lower medical fees. And this all follows Donggu's earlier plan, which outlined 34 tasks across admin support, culture, tourism, and environmental maintenance to back the relocation. And the city has set up a whole dedicated MOF relocation support team for a more systematic move.
Well, hopefully this will be, of much help for the transition for everybody who does make the move down. All right, now I hear we have a health update because Busan is rolling out free COVID-19 shots again.
Yes. Busan City is saying they're going to provide free COVID-19 vaccinations from the 15th all the way until next April 30th for high-risk groups. That includes those who are 65 and older and people who are immunocompromised. This round of vaccination is really to prevent severe illness or death in those high-risk groups. They're going to be using a new vaccine called LP 8.1. And it will be available to seniors 65 and older or over, immunocompromised individuals starting from 6 months old, and also people who are in infection-prone facilities.
Right, but I do want to know, is there a particular reason Busan's starting this campaign now?
They did mention the Busan's vaccination rate for older adults has been a bit lower than national average, like 6th out of 8 big metropolitan cities.
I see.
So they are trying to boost that, and they'll have about 308,000 doses ready to be distributed.
So we're talking about basically 2 birds, 1 clinic visit because flu season's coming up too, right?
Yes, if you are 65 and older, you can even get your flu shot and your COVID shot at the same time. And after getting vaccinated, it's best to stay at the clinic for about 20 to 30 minutes to watch for any side effect. Then go home and rest up.
Yes.
Eligible persons can be vaccinated at any nearby medical provider, regardless of their registered address.
Yes.
So just pick the closest clinic and book yourself in.
So that's actually going to be of great help for people who need it. So especially with the COVID vaccines, they have, they say 380,000 doses ready to be distributed. So, all right, we're going to call it a wrap for the local news, and we'll check in with you tomorrow. Thank you, Sejin.
You're welcome.
All right, I'll be back with your traffic and weather.
Good morning. Good morning.
굿모닝입니다.
굿모닝.
좋은 아침입니다.
모닝 웨이브 인 부산.
Morning Wave in Busan.
모닝 웨이브 인 부산.
Major news, local buzz, and expert takes. It's all here on Morning Wave in Busan. Brighten up your morning commute with Morning Wave in Busan.
모닝 웨이브 인 부산.
It's now 7:18. Here's your traffic and weather. First up, there are a few accidents to report on. First up, on Suyeongno from the Daeyeon-goge to Munhyun intersection, there's an accident by Munhyun Catholic Church. Also an accident on Luno-Samsung-daero toward Shinho Bridge. An accident in front of Myeongji gas station. And there's another accident inside Hwangryong Tunnel going towards the Munjeon intersection. It's backed up on Mandok-daero from Sukdung to Deokcheon intersection, and also congestion on Byeongyonglo from the Wondong ramp to Suyeong Tunnel. So currently it is 18 degrees Celsius and it's raining. It will rain sporadically throughout the day with a daytime high expected to only go up to 22 today. So because of the rain, there might be more congestion than usual. Looking at the weather across the nation, rainy and cloudy across most parts. Strong gusts of wind forecast for the eastern coast of Gyeongsang. So please be careful, and everybody make sure you slow down and tie down anything that needs to be tied down. This was your traffic and weather. It's time for Top Stories. We have Haley in the studio. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes. I wonder if people wonder why I'm always like laughing kind of while the camera's still on.
Or just happy to be here.
I'm just happy and, it's a Tuesday. So how are you?
I'm okay.
Okay.
It's a Tuesday.
Yeah.
It makes me sad a
I
little
know.
bit. Yeah, it's only Tuesday.
And it's like...
It was much better until you told me it was Tuesday. Oh my God.
Right.
Okay. All right. Here we go.
Okay, so long vacation's over. Text topic. What are your physical or health-related goals?
I want to do a pull-up. I'm not even going to be greedy. I just want to do one. Just like the one. Ugh.
I can do how many pull-ups can I do? I can do a 0.2.
We're going to round that down to a 0 because I mean
20% of one pull-up.
Yeah. The decimals. I just want to do a full 1.0.
How many push-ups can you do?
I can do at once 20. But yeah,
that's good. Oh,
Yeah.
wow. I'm very impressed.
So yeah, that was my goal. Do a pull-up was my kind of New Year's resolution. So what is it?
Get
October 14th. All right, I got 2 months.
2.5 months.
2.5 months.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Okay, we'll see. We're going to jump into our first story. Yesterday was the first day of the parliamentary inspection in the Lee Jae-myung administration. So tell us what went down.
Right, so we have a lot of news to cover today. Let's start in Yeouido at the National Assembly. So here, the most contentious site was at the Legislative and Judiciary Committee, which had called in Supreme Court Chief Justice Cho Hee-dae as a direct witness to take the stand to be questioned.
Yes.
So this is the controversy because conventionally, the Supreme Court Chief Justice, he or she, does come to the parliamentary inspection. However, they only make an opening statement. They exit the room during the actual questioning. They do not actually take the stand. Instead, we'll have the Minister of National Court Administration, 법원 행정처장 answer these questions. But what was different this year is that the ruling Democratic Party, they insisted on questioning the Chief Justice directly, and this is over the alleged presidential election meddling accusations.
Right.
So a little bit of background. When current President Lee Jae-myung was the candidate and he had the election meddling court case going on, which could have actually basically canceled his presidential campaign and basically have him withdraw. There were allegations that Cho, the Supreme Court Chief Justice, interfered in this election by quickly working through this case and taking it back, striking it back to the lower courts with a guilty verdict in an unprecedented pace.
I see. However, Chief Justice Cho did not take the stand for questioning.
Right. So he was, physically at the stand, but he just followed custom. So he took the stand and read a prepared statement, an opening statement.
I see.
And then he tried to step down. However, the chair of the Legislative and Judiciary Committee, Chu Mi-ae, basically wouldn't let him.
Okay.
So Chu said that it is the National Assembly's duty to question public officials in the interest of the people, and said that the Chief Justice, he never fully responded to these election meddling allegations. However, Justice Cho said that having judges take the parliamentary stand for their rulings, that can diminish the role of the courts and their trials that are supposed to be based on only the Constitution and the judge's conscience.
Right.
But he did have to sit in the room and actually listen to the course of the questioning.
I see. So that is what happened yesterday. Up next, we want the latest on what's happening with Cambodia, the Cambodian, the job scam and all the kidnapping cases.
Right. So it's kind of as if the dam has been broken on the similar stories, including job scams, extortions, and or abductions.
Yes.
So we're having a lot of stories come in. I'm just highlighting some major ones. Gyeongbuk police received a report from a family of a man in his 30s from Sangju who departed for Cambodia earlier, August 19th. He hasn't gotten in contact with the family. About a week later, they basically received a ransom request for some 20 million won via telegram. He's believed to be held up in Cambodia. A different man in his 20s from Jeju apparently was also held in Cambodia. He was freed on August 10th after his family paid his captors some 35 million won worth of cryptocurrency. Oddly enough, this man apparently refused the rescue offer by the local Cambodian authorities when the police contacted him after the family reported him missing.
Interesting. Well, what have the police said about cooperation with the Cambodian authorities?
Right, so we're getting multiple reports from the government. According to the police via their regular press briefing, they're looking into holding a full survey into Korean criminal victims in Cambodia, including those who may have been killed.
Okay.
Acting Police Chief Yoo Jae-sung said that the international cooperation with the Cambodian police, however, is not easy. And they're trying with the help of the foreign ministry, and added that setting up a dedicated Korean desk on site wouldn't happen in the short term because in some countries they do see it as kind of an infringement on their autonomy and sovereignty. So we'll have to see about that. In the meantime, the National Security Council with the presidential office, they have formed a dedicated task force on these crimes and held its first meeting yesterday, convened by National Security Advisor Wi Sung-rak. So the meeting involved officials from the foreign, justice ministries, and the police. Here, we called for a prompt repatriation of these South Korean nationals on humanitarian grounds. And he also made sure that he mentioned that it is clear that we would need to take measures on their criminal charges, which hints at extradition for South Koreans who are under Cambodian custody. So here we're looking at two different facets. There are people who have been made victims, who are abducted and are held in illegal detention. At the same time, there are at least 68 South Koreans said to be under official custody. So 형무소, they're facing criminal charges in Cambodia as suspects or perpetrators.
I see. So we're going to have to continue to follow this story because it's a big one. Well, now we're going to talk about real estate as authorities are cracking down on price gouging. So what's going on?
Right. So already expensive housing, especially in Seoul area, seeing odd price upticks in what seems to be kind of an orchestrated maneuver. So the government has uncovered thousands of suspected real estate price manipulation cases in the past 5 years. Dozens this year. They've passed all the cases on to the police for investigation. So the land ministry data showed 2,313 cases of these suspected home price manipulations, 집값담합 신고 between 2020 and 2024. Almost half the cases naturally coming from Gyeonggi, 344 cases from Seoul, 287 here in Busan as well. But the capital area, Seoul and Gyeonggi, accounted for about 70% of the cases. This year, we've seen 49 such cases.
I see. Well, what kind of operations are we talking about?
Right, so let me give you a specific case. So there was one apartment transaction in Seoul where an apartment sold, or at least it was in the process of selling for 2.2 billion won, 22억 won, when the market rate for the exact same size apartment in the same complex, 2 billion won. So there was a 200 million won, 2억 won difference, which is it's enough for a smaller home, not in Seoul, right?
Right.
But about a month later in the deal, the buyer suddenly pulled out. If this were a normal case, and if a buyer pulls out, they would lose a lot of money, including the 계약금, the contract, the deposit.
Yes.
However, in this particular case, the buyer received all of the money back and then some.
Oh.
A bonus, perhaps, because in the meantime, this very unit added 70 million won, 7천만 원, to their prices, and ultimately sold to a different buyer at 2,270 million won. So overall, the unit has sold for 270 million won higher than the other apartments. By the way, for have any American listeners listening, that's about $188,000.
Okay.
Not insignificant.
Oh, yes.
Right. So the sudden uptick in the real transaction prices, that's because it triggers FOMO, fear of missing out amongst other investors. You see suddenly prices going up. Oh, are we then now in a market, a bull market for housing? So they want to jump on that action. So the land ministry said that this is misuse of the real transaction disclosure system that was meant to make the market more transparent. So the government said that this is the first case where investigations will be conducted directly, not on the real estate agents, but the parties, the buyers and the sellers who are involved in these alleged manipulations.
Yes. And as this is going on, the government and the Democratic Party, the DP, they are set to announce measures on this overzealous real estate demand in the capital area.
Right. So the Lee government has cracked down on housing prices. That's been their goal, but it's of course been tricky, especially in Seoul. So the party, the government, and the presidential office jointly said they've discussed the trends in housing market and saw eye to eye on the need to more strictly monitor this market.
Yes.
So the measures are coming sometime this week, but that would be the third set of measures under the new administration. Previously, just as a reminder, back in June, we had the tightening on housing loans and mortgages. In September, announcement on expanding the housing supply.
Yes.
This may also, in terms of timing, have to do with the fact that local elections are coming up next June, and a hyped up housing market is not good for the sitting administration.
That's true. So that's where we are in terms of the housing market. Let's move on to some international news. Another big story. The latest on Gaza. What's happening?
Right. So the huge international story here is that phase 1 of the Gaza ceasefire, the deal has been signed, and Hamas has released all living Israeli hostages in 2 separate groups yesterday.
Okay.
The first group of 7 and the rest 13. They were all, of course, taken on October 7th attack in 2023. So they have seen their families for the first time in a little over 2 years.
Right.
Tens of thousands of people had gathered to watch the handovers broadcast live in Israel in what's an area that's called the Hostages Square. In exchange, Israel released almost 2,000 prisoners and detainees, Palestinian prisoners and detainees, who are political prisoners or those who are detained from Gaza during this war.
Yes.
U.S. President Donald Trump, for his part, he first made a stop at the Israeli parliament, Knesset, where he was showered with praises and standing ovations, too many to count, actually.
Yes. So let's get the details of the ceasefire deal that was signed in Egypt, right?
Right. So at this peace summit in Egypt, world leaders, including Trump himself, and leaders of the countries that have mediated the ceasefire, not only just now, but for the 2 years, including Egypt, Qatar, and Turkey, they gathered in the seaside resort town of Ashar al-Sheikh, where they signed the phase 1 deal. So according to President Trump on Truth Social, this deal includes Israel and Hamas really releasing the hostages and the captives.
Yes.
And then Israel will withdraw their troops to an agreed upon line. That will be the first step towards what he called a strong and durable peace, and all parties will be treated fairly.
Okay.
So that's what's been signed off on. Here are the uncertainties that still remain because, again, this is just phase one. So Israel and Hamas are said to still have some deep disagreements, including the timing and the extent of the Israeli withdrawal. Also, what is going to happen to Gaza after the war, make up for the administration and the fate of Hamas.
Yes. So that is, of course, the big international story. But we have other international news. So let's end it with a bit of Nobel Prize news for this year.
Right. So with the Nobel Prize for Economics, the prizes announcements are out, and that wraps up the Nobel announcements for this year. So Nobel Prize in Economics awarded to another trio. I think, except for the Literature Prize and the Peace Prize. Of course, we've had trios in every other category.
Yes.
For this tech-driven economic growth. So we are looking at Professor Joel Moker of Northwestern University. He received one part. The second part going to the pair, Philippe Agnon of the Collège de France and the London School of Economics, and Peter Howitt of Boston University. So the Royal Swedish Academy, which selects the winners, they recognize that we are in this era of, as we know, rapid development in AI and fierce debate over AI's impact on society and living standards.
Yes.
And the reason that the trio was chosen is because they, in their own works, pioneered the explanation of innovation-driven economic growth. So these economists are offering potential solutions to our current challenges. What are they? Well, we've seen rather lackluster or slow economic growth since the 2008 financial crisis, slowdown in productivity gains, raising living standards, and mounting political tensions.
Yes.
So specifically, Mocker, who's a Dutch-born American-Israeli economic historian, he won the prize for his research identifying the prerequisites for sustained growth through technological progress. Agnon and Howitt is Canadian, and Agnon French, they shared the award for their analysis of how creative destruction is key for driving growth.
Interesting. Well, thank you for going over all the top news stories. And of course, we'll check in with you in hour number 2. So thank you, Haley.
See you in a bit.
All right. We are ready for our first song of the morning. This is 펌퍼카 by Daybreak.
상처투성이 외롭고 험한 싸움터 홀러버려진 두려움 앞에서 돌겨가 불고 우물쭈물하다가는 큰일 납니다. 비켜나세요. 언젠가는 드넓은 대지에 다른 벽이 원망스러워 언젠가는 드넓은 대지에 달리는 나를 꿈꾸며 들이받고 또 들이받아봐도 지치지 않는 나의 엔진에 더 큰 용기를
It's time for Wave
Sports.
Sports. Okay, we did not do that on cue, but hello, Andrew. How are you?
I like it.
How are you? It's
in
not
sync, on sync.
It's not November yet. What's going on?
No, you mean beard December beard.
December beard.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Laziness.
you wake up late?
Laziness. Just pure laziness.
Okay.
This is yesterday as well. My son said the same thing as you just said.
Really?
I think it was yesterday the other day.
What'd he say?
It's like,
Daddy.
oh, Dad, it's not November.
I
What's
know.
going on? I
It's
said,
only October.
Well, whatever.
Yes, sex topic time.
Yes.
What are your physical or health-related goals? And what did you say to me off air?
Stay alive. Survive, people.
Survive.
Let's survive.
Yes,
Especially after that Chuseok holiday.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, my waistline is surviving. My belt is barely holding on. No, it's not that bad.
No.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I would just say, I think a lot of times, it's funny you're talking about this, and usually it's talked about in January for New Year's resolutions and things like that. But I think it's just like, take it slowly. People have these dreams of grandeur, like, I'm going to lose 60 pounds and be a runway model. It's like, well, probably not, but, good luck to you. But
I injured my foot because I started exercising on frequently. And then I was like, I can do it now. So it's like I started fast walking, speed walking, and then work my way up. I was like, I didn't stretch properly, and I hurt my left foot. So
my speed walking is to the fridge, back to the sofa.
No, I got myself up to like slow jogging.
Yeah.
And then I thought like it was all good, but apparently it wasn't because I wasn't stretching enough. So.
Oh, well, take it easy, people.
Yeah.
Or
apparently.
you'll be taking it easy. All right.
All right. Speaking of fitness.
Yes. So we're going to talk here. The first story is about Busan.
Ooh.
All right. So
Busan.
Busan is preparing to welcome athletes and fans from across South Korea for the 106th National Sports Festival, also known as the 전국체육 대회. And this is something that's pretty huge.
Yes.
I mean, as in the biggest sporting event in the country.
Right.
Which is
domestic, right?
Yeah, domestic.
So
for sure.
It's not the Olympics,
It's not
but
the
it's
Olympics.
domestic.
It's not the Olympics. But I feel, I don't know. I feel it might be even bigger than the Olympics.
Oh, okay.
I might be paid to say that, people, but we're just going to run with it, all right?
But not paid enough.
Exactly.
So it's okay.
So the official opening ceremony for the National Sports Festival gets underway this Friday, October 17th, at the Busan Asiad Main Stadium. I always call it the World Cup Stadium. People are like, it's not the name. the Asiad was after that, the Asian Games. And okay, sure. The Busan Asiad Main Stadium. That's at 6 o'clock.
Yes.
I'm sure you can still probably find tickets for that as well. This marks a major moment for the city as it's been 25 years since they last hosted the event. It was 2000.
Wow.
It was the 81st edition of this.
Were we born?
Barely?
That was a long time ago.
We were kicking around.
25 years ago.
Exactly. So people are wondering, especially for people outside of Korea, how actually big is this? So around Korea, there are 17 provinces and cities, all right? And that includes, for the amount of athletes coming, over 30,000 athletes. And then there's officials, and then there's coaches, and everybody else that is involved. They'll compete in more than 49 sports, including, when we think of the major sports from like the Olympics.
Yes.
Summer Olympics, that is. They're all included essentially. All right. With, the athletics and baseball and swimming and all of these kind of things taking part as well. And then, the biggest thing here is that you're not competing just as a team, you're competing as your city or as your province.
Right.
So there's a ton of pride that goes into this as well, because you don't want, nothing against smaller provinces or smaller cities, but you don't want to have lost to somebody like that.
No.
You want to be
pride of Busan.
Exactly.
Yes.
All right. So, hopefully, it's going to be a good games for us here, for everyone in Busan. Now, the festival does run through until October 23rd. And, it's not just the athletic side of things here, the city is hoping, this is a massive boost for the economy as well.
Yes.
Tourism, you can see around the city, there's lots of banners for the events. There's going to be the opening ceremonies is going to be massive, as well as the closing ceremonies. Big fireworks shows, the lighting of the torches and stuff like that. But also to, show Busan as a global city,
right,
but also a global port or coastal city as well.
That's right.
Which is pretty awesome. And not just 49 sports, but 82 venues across the city. So I think even if you're not aware that this is happening, there might be something being taken, like happening in your area.
I went to
Not
school
just
yesterday,
Blackpink, but
and I saw a sign that said this is like an official parking lot.
Oh yeah, yes.
of one of the events.
Or there's
I
like
don't know
a
what it
viewing
was.
party or something
right.
going on.
They're like, I was like, oh, so
Yeah.
there must be like venues all set up across the city.
Across the city. I think, and that's also, I'm really happy that they're able to do that because I feel it takes a lot, obviously it takes a lot of money to put this on. And there's a lot of areas in the city when, for example, you take the film festival. That's only in like 2 areas of the city. Right? But this is across the city.
Yes.
I think the city's done a great job to promote it as well, and hopefully
I like
it
it.
runs very smoothly.
They're paying you a lot, aren't they? They're just like promoting it so well.
Maybe.
All right. all right. So this will be followed by another event too.
Yes, the 전국 장애인체육대회, also known as the 45th National Parasports Festival,
Yes.
will follow soon after, running from the 31st to November 5th. Now, this is, again, similar to the Olympic-style event, but it's the para side.
Yes.
All right? Now, this year we'll have over 10,000 participants, including approximately 7,000 athletes. And then, there's everyone else, the coaches and the people who help take care of everything.
Right.
We'll have 31 sports across 38 venues throughout Busan. It aims to promote the inclusivity and highlight the remarkable determination and talent of the athletes with disabilities, continuing the spirit of unity and celebration sparked by the National Sports Festival. And I've heard quite a few interviews about this, and everyone is just looking. I'm sure everyone wants to win.
Yes.
But they're like, I want to set my personal best. So keeping things. Not dreaming too big, but hopefully they're there. Like they're going to set their personal
course.
best, and if their personal best wins them a medal, they're going to be super happy about it.
It goes hand in hand with our text topic. Like, what's
Busan
your
fighting.
personal goal?
Yeah.
Right? Well, they all have their personal goals, I'm sure.
Massive.
Yes. Well, thank you for.
We're going to win. Sorry. Sorry, Seoul.
Thanks for covering the 106th National Sports Festival, plus the 45th National Para Sports Festival.
Yes.
All right, let's move on. I hear you have some, not baseball news.
Soccer news.
Soccer.
Well, I'm sure.
축구.
Did you watch this game last
no,
week?
I turned it off.
Yeah.
I'll be honest.
I was like, I think
turned
the
it off.
weather is affecting the signal.
It's
Turn
off.
off.
Yes, I'll be honest. I turned it off after the first 30 minutes.
Unless you're under a rock, or
Yes.
maybe you were hiding under that rock.
Yes.
Brazil just absolutely destroyed South Korea last week. 5-0. Now, I don't know what people expected from this game. I think people expected Brazil to follow along the line they were on previously, which wasn't so good.
Right, and
But
then
they brought a fairly strong team.
Yes.
And I think they're realizing they have to get better as well. And I think for friendlies, it's good when teams do that. I think Korea is missing a couple players, but I expected a little bit more.
I'll be honest. I really did think Brazil was going to win,
Sure,
but not by
yeah.
5-0.
Now, we were chatting when we were watching it and eating some chicken. I was like, 2-1, 3-1 maybe.
Yeah.
At least
but
get one.
Not 5-0.
Not 5-0. But
Yeah.
so I didn't want to bring a whole lot from the event, although it was a very rowdy 63,000 home fans at the event. But the Brazilian fans were quite noisy as well.
Yes.
But we're going to get to a clip here. This is a Brazilian reporter giving Sonny a little bit of a gift, we'll say. Let's get to the clip.
And as we are now in Chuseok, I heard that it's a tradition to give candies, traditional Korean candies. So I have some traditional Brazilian candies to you. Chuseok chai chinaseo for you. And as you are a fan as well, the shirt of the Brazilian fans.
Thank you.
감사합니다.
Super cute.
So cute.
Yeah, so he gave him some Brazilian candy. Also spoke some Korean as well, which was really nice. Now, I will highlight, Sonny was really, surprised by this, and he's really happy. This was before the game. A couple
was not
days
happy.
before the game. So he was very happy at this point.
At that point.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
we'll see how things go. But I thought it was really cute. That was from Mbek Sports News from NoTube. So yeah, it was cool to see that clip. And he also gave him a shirt. It was like the Brazilian supporter shirt. And Sonny was kind of like, all right. But I think it would be cool for him to put in his, because every footballer has a collection.
Of course.
And you saw Richarlison after the game. He's like, give me your shirt. Where's your
Former teammates, of course.
Exactly.
Yes. All right. Well, don't they have a chance at redemption tonight? Is it tonight?
Yes, it is tonight. So it'll be 8 p.m. At the World Cup Stadium in Seoul tonight. Korea will take on Paraguay. Now, this one, we say redemption. Now, there is a little bit of a difference here in their ranking, but as we've learned in recent years, the FIFA rankings mean as much as me throwing this paper in the wind because we don't even know where they're going to end up.
Yes.
So Korea is ranked 23rd in the world, and then Paraguay is 37th. I think that's still close enough. We're not looking at like 60 different points in the rankings.
Right.
So I mean, that's still close enough.
It should be interesting.
Now, the manager, head coach, Heung-min said that, he's hoping for a stronger showing from his back line, and then also for him to have some more chances to, move some players around, try some different systems, something that wins, that will work. But before kickoff tonight at the game, the KFA will hold a special ceremony to honor Captain Heung-min, who recently became the most capped male player in national team history. Hats off to you, Sonny.
우리 해외 조카님,
but
as I call him. Yes.
Star remains second on Korea's all-time scoring list with 53 goals, but just 5 behind legend Cha Bum-gun. So we'll see. Maybe he can get
He's
closer
a legend,
to that. And a lot of people are wondering, when will Sonny stop playing for the national team?
Right.
Well, I'll say he's not stopping before he breaks that record.
Yeah, not yet.
Not yet. And then maybe prolongs that or extends that a little bit. Yeah. So
do we have any baseball news? Because people were saying, "Oh, I bet Andrew's going to be talking about baseball."
Baseball.
Yeah.
Baseball season's over. What are you guys on about?
Right.
Well,
they're wondering.
actually, I was maybe they're thinking I'm going to talk about Seattle Mariners and the Blue Jays that are playing right now. So this is in the ALCS, the Championship Series in the American League. The Seattle Mariners taking on Toronto Blue Jays right now. The game, I just checked the score as we speak. It is 6-3 in the bottom of the 5th, or the bottom of the 6th, I guess it is now. The Mariners do have a lead in that series. Later today, the Dodgers and the Brewers get underway for game 1 of that series.
Okay, that's it.
No, for baseball, that's all I'm talking about for baseball. We do got to get on to some LPGA because I'm going to an event this weekend.
Oh, you are?
I certainly am.
Yes.
Yeah, so the LPGA Tour returns to South Korea this weekend with the BMW Ladies Championship, which tees off from Thursday to Sunday, the 16th to 19th, at Pine Beach Golf Links in Haenam, Jeollanam-do.
Oh.
So it's the first time that the tournament has gone west, I guess, if you will, and that far south. It was in Busan for the first few years. Then it was in Wonju, and then up north in Paju. So it's going, complete opposite.
Okay.
I was hoping for Jeju. I wanted a little trip to the island, but it didn't happen.
Okay.
All right. So the total purse for this is $2.3 million with the winner taking home $345,000. Now, I don't know if you followed the tournament last weekend, the Buick Open that took place in Shanghai, but there's the odd playoff, and this was between Gino Tidikal and I guess it was the Japanese girl. I can't remember her name. Katsu, I think her name is. It was 5 playoff holes, and it was just like, this is never going to end. And then one of them made a mistake, and it was over with Gino Tidikal winning that event. So coming in high to this event, a lot of people are looking to see her. Also Minji Lee, Grace Kim, along Korean favorites and stars and standouts, Ko Jin-young, Kim Hyo-ju, and Kim Ah-rim, who are also kind of on fire at this point.
Yes.
So it'd be great to see that. I mean, it's one of my highlights of the year to attend. It's always great to see it live, and they put on a fantastic event as well. So if you're in the area, check it out. Tickets aren't that expensive, especially for a beautiful day out at amazing looking golf course. I haven't been there yet, but I can't wait.
Yes, well, we want updates.
Yes, I'll be back with some next week.
All right, thank you,
And
Andrew.
maybe a baseball or two updates.
And please shave.
No. Now that she said that, people,
She's not going
it's
to.
on.
All right, everybody. This was Andrew with Wave Sports. It's time to wrap up our number one. So this is for Andrew. Staying Alive by the Bee Gees.
Well, you can tell by the way I use my walk. I'm a woman's man, no time to talk. The music loud, women walk, being kicked around since I was born. Never tolerate, that's okay. And you may look the other way, but we can try to understand. The New York Times are big on man. Whether you're a brother or whether you're a mother, you're staying alive, staying alive. Feel the city breaking and everybody shaking, and we're staying alive, staying alive. Staying alive, staying alive. Staying alive. Run out, I get low when I get high, and if I can't get in, I really try. Got the wings of heaven on my shoes, I'm a dancing man, and I just can't lose. You know it's alright, it's okay. I live to see another day, but we can try to understand. The New York Times are big on man. Whether you're a brother or whether you're a mother, you're staying alive, staying alive. Feel the city breaking and everybody shaking, and we're staying alive, staying alive. Staying alive, staying alive. Staying alive. You can tell by the way I use my walk. I'm a woman's man, no time to talk. Music loud, women walk, being kicked around since I was born. Now it's alright, it's okay. And you may look the other way, but we can try to understand. The New York Times are big on man. Whether you're a brother or whether you're a mother, you're staying alive, staying alive. Feel the city breaking and everybody shaking, and we're staying alive, staying alive. Staying alive, staying alive. Staying alive.
의약품도 부족해 간단히 치료할 수 있는 질병으로 사망에 이르는 상황입니다. 바로 지금이 우리가 에티오피아의 진 빚을 갚을 때입니다. 지금 전화해 주세요. 후원 문의 080-982-0119 국제구조위원회.
기업체 사장님들 아직도 직영으로 식당 운영하고 계십니까? 위탁급식과 도시락 전문기업 더 좋은 푸드에 맡겨보십시오. 운영비 절감 효과 확실합니다. 식대는 협의 후 맞춰드립니다. 지역 부산 경남 051-784-0877 051-784-0877
혹시 지금 운전 중이신가요? 어린이 교통사고 피해자 수는 지난 3년 평균 약 9만 명. 특히 어린이 보호구역 안전기준이 강화된 이후에도 어린이 보호구역 내 사고는 지속적으로 발생하고 있습니다. 스쿨존에서는 반드시 시속 30km 이하 서행, 스쿨존 내 불법 주정차 금지, 차량 출발 전 앞뒤 좌우 살피는 습관으로 어린이가 안전한 도시를 만듭니다. 참, 운전 중 휴대전화 사용은 모두에게 위험합니다. 우리 모두를 위한 교통안전, 나부터 실천하면 모두가 안전해집니다. 어린이가 안전하게 뛰어놀 수 있는 부산. 아이 키우기 좋은 도시는 우리 모두의 미래이자 희망입니다. 이 캠페인은 어린이가 안전한 부산을 만드는 은행, B&K 부산은행과 함께합니다.
Welcome to Busan. Let me show you around. Here you can find the world's largest musical in-ground fountain and the world's only UN memorial cemetery. Stroll along the coast and explore the largest mountain fortress in Korea. As well as all this, there are so many tourist attractions, beautiful exhibitions, vibrant culture, convenient facilities, and delicious foods unique to Busan. With all the beauty and charm of the amazing city of Busan, you'll find yourself right at home in this ever-changing tourism paradise. So stay with us a while. Busan, your #1 tourist destination. Your home, away from home. This campaign is brought to you by BEFM, Busan 영어방송.
The time is now 8 o'clock.
Welcome back. This is hour number 2 of Morning Wave in Busan. We begin with Spotlight News. Government urges measures for Cambodia kidnappings. Foreign Minister Cho Hyun yesterday said that the government has been working on extraordinary measures, including flying back all South Korean nationals, as National Security Advisor Wee Sung-lak stressed the need for swift repatriation of these individuals. Around 330 illegal detentions of Korean nationals have been reported to the Korean embassy in Cambodia in the first 8 months of the year, including one male who died after alleged torture. The ruling Democratic Party said that it will form a special committee within the party to respond to international job scams and propose expanding the personnel and budget for consular services. Top office says U.S. responded to parts of South Korea's tariff deal. The presidential office said that the U.S. has responded to some of the revised proposals in tariff talks, potentially including a $350 billion investment pledge, with Foreign Minister Cho Hyun adding that the U.S. has made a new proposal regarding the pledge. Although the two countries agreed on a framework deal to lower the tariff from 25% to 15%. Little progress has been made since then in terms of details of the deal. Trade Minister Kim Jong-kwan said during the parliamentary inspection that the government will do its utmost for a fair deal with the U.S. and prioritize national interests. Financial authorities issue verbal intervention amid currency tumble. The Finance Ministry and the Bank of Korea issued a rare verbal intervention yesterday after the won tumbled to 1,431 against the U.S. dollar for the first time in 18 months. Financial authorities said they were closely monitoring markets as internal and external factors have been causing more volatility at the South Korean currency. A verbal intervention is a policy measure that sends a message aimed at stabilizing the currency. Following the statement, the Korean won stabilized in the upper 1,421 range. CCTV footage from presidential office released in Han Duck-soo trial. Prosecutors yesterday presented surveillance footage from the presidential office of former Prime Minister Han Duck-soo and former Defense Minister Kim Yong-hyun from the night of December 3rd martial law declaration. And parts of the footage permitted for release by the court, Han and Kim are seen discussing the lack of a cabinet quorum needed to approve the declaration, along with Han handing documents to ex-President Yoon Suk-yeol and Kim, and Han encouraging ministers to sign the document. Prosecutors argue that the former prime minister allegedly aided and abetted Yoon's martial law declaration. Han denies knowing about the plans and claims he tried to stop the declaration. Gaza ceasefire deal signed in Egypt. World leaders, including U.S. President Donald Trump, have gathered in Egypt to sign a Gaza ceasefire deal as the families of the last 20 living Israeli hostages celebrate the return of their loved ones after 2 years. Israel has released almost 2,000 Palestinian prisoners and detainees. Hamas has released the bodies of 4 hostages, but added that it does not know the location of the remains for some of the other 24. Uncertainty still remains for the rest of the ceasefire, including a reconstruction of Gaza and a potential Palestinian state. This was Spotlight News. It's time for Wagle. Haley's back.
Hello again.
Yes. Well, let's jump into our first story for Wagle. Naver, one of the biggest tech giants here in South Korea, is facing a lawsuit for IP violation involving its AI. So we're talking about intellectual property violation?
Right, and copyright. So this is issues of teaching AI, because you do need to teach AI programs and chatbots from existing data that's also copyrighted. So according to the opposition People Power Party lawmaker Choi Soo-jin's office, the Korea Broadcasters Association has filed for a damages suit against Naver and its associate Naver Cloud, 200 million won for each of the 3 public broadcasters in Korea. So and another association, the Korean Association of Newspapers, has filed another case against Naver for unauthorized usage of its affiliate newspaper articles in Naver's AI learning. And this case has been lodged to the Fair Trade Commission, and a damages civil suit is expected to follow after this FTC ruling. So what the suit says, the Broadcasters Association says that in the process of Naver developing its large language model, LLM, it utilized things like blogs, so basically what's online, blogs, online communities, news articles, comments on said articles, Naver's own 지식인, the public knowledge sharing platform, and more. And of course, the Korean Language Institute site as well. However, news contents, they account for some 13% of the data, which is a significant portion.
Right.
And while the AI service itself acknowledges having utilized such content, it's actually apparently never sought authorization for such usage.
I see. So what do broadcasting watchdogs say about this?
Not much, which is kind of the problem. So the agency that's in charge of the government's AI policy right now is the Ministry of Science and ICT, but it's been criticized for taking a rather passive position. So its response so far has been that this is a matter that requires balanced review between protecting the rights of copyright holders and utilizing such data for innovations in this new industry, and they will come up with measures by closely working with relevant agencies. So in
I
short,
see.
it's basically saying it's complicated.
The thing is, this is clearly not a problem, only relegated to South Korea. How are other countries handling this?
Right, so we could look to other examples. For instance, the European Union. So the EU gives unconditional authorization for text and data usage for research purposes. And then for other data, for example, commercial usage, it does give permission unless the creator explicitly rejects the usage of their data for large language model learning.
Okay.
In the US, for example, the general stance is that the data may be used without consent from the creator if it fulfills the principle of fair usage, and even for commercial usage if it is in favor of public interest.
Oh, but that's so vague. Public
That's
interest.
such a fine line to cross, right?
All right. Well, thank you for reporting on this story. Let's move on. There's been a report on the struggles and unfair work demands that policy aides and local council face.
Right, so this is an exclusive from 경향신문 that I bring to you. So these are policy aides, 정책 지원관. They're contracted public servants with provincial, city, or county council. So the legislature, they're supposed to, as the name implies, help with research, drafting bills, audits and data analysis, so official capacity. However, it seems that some local councilmen and councilwomen are using them as personal assistants.
Oh, no.
Right. So this is according to a survey released by the Basic Income Party lawmaker Heung-min. Here, 52.1% of the aides responded that they've experienced 갑질, which is in Korean what we call workplace bullying, but that specifically comes from someone in a higher position of authority.
Yes.
And then a little over 50% saying that they've witnessed workplace bullying or abuse of authority perpetrated upon a colleague.
Okay, so we need to ask, who were the perpetrators?
Well, local council members. So the bosses are at the same time not their bosses. I'll get to that later. And other public officials too. But in particular, we saw a lot of grievances regarding personal requests made by these council members. So for example, having to drive to play chauffeur to drive these council members to and from work. Okay, but how about driving their children? Doing drop-off and pickup service for the kids. And it seems that this aids, policy aids participation in kids' schooling continued. For example, helping them to do homework, helping them with college admissions essays. And I'm just saying, if you're a government council member, you probably can't afford a tutor or, a college consultant. So, therefore, 갑질, abuse of authority, perhaps. And then there are also matters that may infringe with the principle of these public officials having to be political neutral, such as working on campaign literature and campaign material for political parties.
Okay.
So fundamentally, it's been pointed out that while on paper, these contracted officials are hired through the council secretariat, they report to the council members whose offices they've been assigned to. So they have to take orders directly. And the council members' opinions count in their evaluations. Yeah, which determines whether they can renew their contract or not. So this creates this lopsided power structure.
Yes.
By the way, the fact that there were 1,930 policy aides, but only 290 of them were even willing to participate in this anonymous survey, no less, that might speak volumes about the situation.
Oh, goodness. And as one of our listeners said, 재봉 리, 아직도 저런 곳이 있다니 하인 부리는 듯 하네요.
Right. They're being treated like servants. And the thing is, it's not 저런 곳, singular, a place. It's multiple places across our, again, tax-funded elected officials.
Yes, yes. All right, we're going to go to the U.S. for our next story where the effects of the government shutdown, well, they're starting to show.
Right. So President Donald Trump has been increasing pressure on Democrats to approve the Republican spending bill in the Senate. So usually what happens during government shutdowns, I mean, they're not common, but they do happen.
Yes.
Federal workers, so government workers, they go on what's called furlough. Basically, that's unpaid leave. Here, the government has been laying off some 4,000 workers across multiple departments, but we're looking at commerce, education, energy, health, and homeland. So these include, specifically for this story, 1,300 workers who are fired from the U.S. Centers for Disease Control, CDC, and Prevention. But about half of them apparently weren't supposed to be. So they were hired right back. So who wasn't supposed to be fired but was the incident commander for measles response. 홍역 담당관. The U.S., by the way, is looking at its biggest outbreak of measles since basically when the virus was deemed eradicated. Apparently, this happened because of a coding error.
Oh, really?
That sent the wrong notices to the people who were supposed to be let go.
Okay.
But a former employee of the CDC who did not leave on good terms, they called it pure managerial incompetence and expressed concerns about the readiness of the agency when the next public health crisis happens. By the way, for a bit of background, the U.S. government shutdown has been ongoing for 13 days at this point.
Yes.
With continued stalemate between the Republicans and Democrats.
Okay. Well, once again, the government shutdown in the U.S., yes, showing the signs of not going well. For our last story, we're going to go back to our text topic, your fitness or health-related goals.
All right, so as I mentioned, my goal is to do 1 pull-up. I have 2.5 months to do this.
Yes.
Well, here's someone who's going to put all of us to shame.
Okay.
This female police officer from Australia did not 1, not 2, but 733 pull-ups in 1 hour. And I'm like, lifetime maybe? That might make sense. But no, in 1 hour. I'm exhausted just talking about it.
Yes.
So this is 32-year-old Jade Henderson. She's a bodybuilder in her free time and a police officer. She broke the previous record of 725 pull-ups per hour by any female set in the Guinness World Record. By the way, if you're doing the math, she's doing an average of 12 pull-ups per minute. And the thing is, an hour is a really long time.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting. All right. So, according to Henderson, she started to train for the pull-up world record because she liked the idea of doing something that no one has ever done. She's also wanted to basically push herself, mind and body, to see what it was capable of. Interestingly, this is kind of a scaled-down goal.
Oh.
Because she was initially going for the 24-hour record of pull-ups. However, she sustained an injury. She tore her bicep. By the way, she tore her bicep in the process of doing 3,500. So 3,500 pull-ups in 12 hours.
Oh, my gosh.
And I'm like, I was real proud of myself for being at the gym for an hour and a half. 12 hours. Anyways, during this mission, this challenge, the record-setting session, she noted how her hands felt like they were going to just break apart, but had to work through that. So again, a lot of these physical challenges, they have to do with your mind as well.
Sure.
So her message to anyone, set a goal, make plans, and try every day. Consistency is key to try to meet that goal.
Yes, indeed. I mean, your goal is 1. Mine.
What's yours?
It's to do with, to be like full-on running, jogging.
Right.
But my 0.2 pull-up versus how many did you? 733 in 1 hour. Oof. Amazing. She's a trailblazer. So thanks for going over all the Woggly news, and we'll check in with you tomorrow. Thank you, Haley.
Have a great day.
All right. Now to you, the listeners out there, let's get to our updated traffic and weather. It's now 8:15. Here's your traffic update. It's congested on Gwanmun-daero from Pangnam Tunnel to Baekyang Tunnel. It's backed up on Gwangan Bridge, that top portion going toward Namcheon. Also traffic on Chungnyeol-daero from Minam intersection to Mandak Tunnel number 2. And it is backed up on Nakdong-Namno from Gangsa Police Station to Seongsan Three-Way intersection. Currently, it's 18 degrees Celsius and it's raining. It will rain on and off throughout the day, with a daytime high expected to go up to 22 degrees here in Busan. Across the nation, raining and cloudy across most of the nation. Strong gusts of wind forecast for the eastern part of Gyeongsang. So please be careful. Make sure everything is tied down. And especially for driving, drive carefully. This was your traffic and weather. It's time for your special interview. So let me begin with a question. Are you investment savvy? If you've been keeping an eye on the AI industry, you've probably noticed how heated things have become. Just recently, Amazon founder Jeff Bezos described the current AI investment frenzy as a good bubble, quote from him, saying it could bring long-term benefits to society. So this wave of AI enthusiasm isn't limited to big corporations or professional investors. It's also reaching everyday people like you and me. So over the Chuseok holiday, many people who received, allowance or, monetary gifts from their grandparents or relatives even turned to AI robo-advisors on tips on how to grow their savings, their newfound savings. So another question, is this a good idea? And what could the future of AI investment look like? So let's dive deeper into these questions with today's expert. Joining us today is Professor Andrew Wu, Associate Professor of Technology and Operations, Faculty Director of the MBI AI Specialization, and Faculty Co-Director of the FinTech Initiative at the Stephen M. Ross School of Business at the University of Michigan. Hi, thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Catherine. Thank you for having me on your program. Glad to be here.
Yes, the pleasure is ours, Professor. So to kick things off, could you give us an overview of what's happening in the AI investment sector right now? What are the main trends?
Sure, yeah. So let's break it into three parts, right? So what is getting funded, who is funding it, and where is happening? So right now, we see money is flowing into both ends of the AI value chain. So on the supply side, we're seeing basically a once-in-a-generation build-out in infrastructure. So that's data centers, chips, cooling, power. We're on track to hit $7 trillion by 2030 if this continues. And that also includes human talent, right? So algorithm developers are very hot, those that can refine and build new AI frontier models. And on the opposite side, on the user side, the main theme here is what's called agentic application, right? So basically a new breed of software agents that go far beyond chatbots. They can connect to multiple data sources that can do multi-step work like ideation, coding, and finance. So second is who's doing these investments, right? So we have the usual suspects, the big tech companies, venture capital, and so on. But also for the first time and at this scale, governments and sovereign wealth funds are getting to the picture. So we're seeing, for example, the US government-led Stargate project, and the direct government investment into Intel. In the Middle East, sovereign players like Saudi Arabia and Abu Dhabi are ramping up huge data center bets. So I wouldn't be surprised to see other governments spooning up sovereign wealth funds just for AI investments because most governments view AI as a national strategic asset. Yes. Right? And finally, where are these investments taking place? Right? So here we have a little bit of a geographic divergence here with basically US and Asia leading the charge, and Europe is sort of still playing catch up. So the US still dominates in private AI investments, especially into computing infrastructure and cutting edge models. Yes. And China is building more, is betting more on applications, vertical use cases, and efficiency. So partly as a response to the chip constraints, right? So overall, we're seeing it's basically a multi-pronged global investment push. So far showing no signs of abating with plenty of governments now directly in the mix.
Yes. Thanks for thoroughly explaining all the facets of this. Well, some big names out there like Jeff Bezos, Sam Altman, they have both spoken about the so-called AI bubble. So what exactly does this mean? Because when we hear bubble and, we feel like, well, that means it's going to burst sometime, no?
Yeah, so what it basically means is that the current valuations, right, the current investments and capital being put in the AI sector are sort of racing ahead of actual near-term profits that we can get out of it, right? So it's very similar to the sort of early internet, right? There's huge promise, but the payoff for the real economy takes time, right? So remember, it took us a long time, almost 2 decades, before internet is firmly now part of our everyday life and work. So, and in the same way, AI will take time to pay off, right? So people believe this is going to be a transformative force, but the big gains so far haven't shown up on factory floors and in offices yet, right? So in this situation, people will overinvest and many will lose money. But here the difference is that's part of the this is part of funding the breakthrough technology, right? I wouldn't call it a pure speculative bubble like the tulip mania. Because here, these investments do have a purpose, right? It's because we're basically funding mass experimentation of a brand new technology and real assets.
Yes.
Sure, not every company, model, or use case will survive, but this experimentation at this scale will give us the infrastructure, the talent, and the know-how to keep for the long run. So I think this is why Bezos called this quote-unquote industrial bubble. Because think about the dot-com era, right? The fiber optic network that we grossly overbuilt later powered our cloud and streaming. Today's equivalent is this AI class, data centers, better cooling, better chips, better power systems. So I would define it as some overexuberance and froth at the firm level, but combined with definite progress at the ecosystem level.
Oh, okay. Well, some experts warn that AI investments are overhyped, while others say that the hype is driving real innovation. So we have contrasting views right now. So from your perspective, Professor, how can we tell the difference between healthy growth and, market overexcitement or froth or anything like that?
Very good question. That's exactly what I teach in our AI courses.
Okay.
So based on my conversation the last 2 years with executives in both the tech and the vertical industries, I think in general, 3 factors are important, right? So first, how real is the promised value, right? So now we have thousands of AI startups, and every investment proposal is going to come with a long list of benefits. Right? But the problem is, because this is such a brand new technology, you only get to see value when you actually deploy it. So this is the pickle, right? So I'm a big fan here of what I call randomized control trials, where you take the investment and you selectively release the AI tool to a randomized sample of the target audience, right? Be it your customers or your workers, whoever the end user is. And this way, you get almost like in a medical treatment, you can get accurate quantification of the impact from early on. So which I think this is very important. The second factor is what I call CapEx linkage, right? So capital investment linkage. So what I mean by that is, your investment dollars tied to actual things, basically chips, data centers, and power, that tend to be sturdier, right, than spending on, marketing or just speculative software. Right? So when I see long-term investment into compute and power contracts, that what I view is a little bit healthier. And finally, this is my personal belief, is that to be a transformative force, AI has to be integrated into the real economy, right? So not just the service sector, but broadly in manufacturing, agriculture. Basically I want to see AI help us making real things, right? Make more of them and make them better. So these investments, integration into the real economy, is what I think will be more durable in the long run.
I see. Well, I do want to get to this question as well, and we're going to shift gears just a little bit, Professor. I'm sure in other places as well, but in Korea these days, people are turning to these AI, I guess I'll call them like robo-advisors for investment advice. So we're not talking about investment in AI technology, but just having this assistance, having AI assistance in investing. First of all, can you explain this a little further and what's your take on this trend?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So interestingly, robo-advisor is actually not AI, right? Because robo-advisor is basically automated portfolio construction, right? So taking your risk profile and then select your investment that most optimized toward your risk tolerance. So, for example, I teach a course on AI investing, robo-advisors here at Michigan. So basically, one of the core themes is robo-advisor, right? So for asset allocation, robo-advisor is a pretty good low-cost alternative to humans. So let's think about how human advisors do things, right?
Yes.
Here's the analogy. A human advisor sits down with you, chats with you, maybe sends you a questionnaire, collect your data, your age, your risk tolerance, and what do? They plug these numbers into a computer, right? And then they read out the allocations for you and further customize that. So the robo-advisor basically is that. It just skips the conversation and we go straight to the model, right? Just take the computer, directly put in front of the user screen, and therefore skipping the middle party here, right? So the main competitive advantage is lower cost.
Yes.
So indeed in Korea, we see a lot of accelerated usage for this. I think I'm over 1 trillion won in AUM, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
So especially savers now shifting retirement assets toward these algorithm-driven investments. So again, the main idea, the main pro here is lower fees, right? This is the automated way of doing the same thing that human advisors are doing. So it comes with automated selection, rebalancing, tax management, and maybe fewer mistakes by humans. With the downside that it is, I guess, not as customized as a purely dedicated human advice portfolio. So, overall, my advice for small investors is that you absolutely can use robos for the core investment process to get a allocation of how much money you want to put in stocks versus bonds and different broad asset classes. But I would stick to only the reputable players, right? So not those that sort of jump on the AI bandwagon because this is not it. And definitely don't overpay in fees because robo-advisors don't have much overhead. So their fees should be significantly lower than their human counterpart.
All right. Well, I certainly hope that our listeners do their own research, do their due diligence. And for a final question today, Professor, looking ahead, what do you think the next few years will bring for AI investments? Going back to our original topic, do you think that we're looking at really big opportunities, or is it kind of risky?
Yeah, I broadly see two opportunities here, right? And some risks here. So the first is infrastructure, right? So that is not dying down, but in fact accelerating in pretty exciting ways. So for example, we now are starting to have companies coming up with very innovative chip designs, custom silicon that can do AI a lot better, a lot more efficient, advanced memory, liquid cooling, and of course newer power solutions.
Sure.
So these are very exciting. And the second is what I would call smarter AI agents, right? So that's on the user application side, software platform that not just automate existing tasks, but can also unlock new ones that were previously too labor intensive to carry out. So for example, we're now collaborating with Google on an agentic AI platform in higher education that is now being piloted, I think, in over 30 universities and over 20,000 students. So basically, we turn this over to the faculty, right, and empower them to do new things. So, they run real-time simulations, AI-delivered cases, exams even, reverse roles, letting students teach AI. So again, these are brand new pathways that weren't possible before without massive manpower, right? So, and that is a very promising direction for AI application, unlocking new pathways. But on the risk side, right? So I do do a lot of work in supply chain risk, and that is the main factor that we see. The main risk being in the AI sector is what I see, quote unquote, supply chain of AI. Right, so I see basically 3 choke points here. First is compute, right? The computing power.
Yes.
Where do all the chips from? All the chips and computing power is essentially now being manufactured by only a few manufacturers. And then, of course, we just saw that China have taken some action on the raw materials as well, right?
That's
the rare
right.
earth materials. So there's very concentrated risk here, right? So second, we also have a concentration in AI models, the foundation models that actually does the generation of information. So here we only also have a few players, right? Just OpenAI, Google, Anthropic, and X, right? So, these, because they provide all the models, any application builders will have to rely on them. Right? That's what I call platform dependence. So again, overall, to sort of taking it from a higher level view, still a very kind of risky bet. But again, in the long run, I do believe this can be a positive, transformative force for the society in the long run.
Yes. Well, I do want to thank you for sharing all of your wealth of knowledge and expertise with our listeners today. So we do appreciate your time. Thank you, Professor.
Thank you again for having me. Have a nice rest of the morning.
You too as well. This was Professor Andrew Wu from the University of Michigan, and we talked about investing in AI and a little bit about, having a little bit of help from AI robo-advisors, which is very trendy right now. So I hope that, you can take any insight from this interview, and hopefully it'll be helpful for all of you out there. And of course, always do your due diligence. Let's get to our next song. This is Believe by Cher. it's time for Simply Sustainable. Guess who's here? Bonnie's here.
Yay!
Oh my
Yaying
gosh,
for
you look so
myself.
kind of like summery.
trying with these gray skies.
Yes. So our text topic today, what are your physical or health-related goals?
Oh, okay. This year, this is like year after year. Just to get to a point where I don't hate running anymore.
Oh, me too.
Yeah. So we're not there yet. We're not there yet, but I still have time.
Yeah, we have 2.5 months, right? PD님도 맞죠? 우리 같은, we're all in the same boat.
I don't want to say I hate it. I've gotten to a point where I strongly dislike it, but I've moved away. I've moved away from hate, so we're getting there.
I've actually gotten to the point of it's just getting over the initial putting the shoes on and getting out there and like stretching and like, I don't want to do it. And then once I get started, it's not bad.
Okay.
Yeah. So
that's inspiration. That's motivation for me.
Yes. We take all those mini goals, right?
Yes, as much as we can.
All right. We're going to jump into Simply Sustainable. What do you have for us?
Okay. Well, today's a little bit of a special episode because this month we lost a great steward of in the conservation world and on October 1st, Jane Goodall passed away in Los Angeles at the age of 91 while on a speaking tour. And I wanted to make this episode in honor of her just because her life's work in itself was just so impressive and really changed the span of how conservationists, environmentalists kind of go for our goals.
Yes.
But other than that, she really... I think her greatest accomplishment was the fact of how she did it. Her approach to everything was also always so compassionate, always with so much passion, always with so much kindness. And I think that really exemplifies how we should kind of all approach not just topics related to conservation, but all things in life, because she really accomplished so much even with this approach.
Yes.
She wasn't on like the front lines picketing and protesting and being loud and aggressive. She was so kind and peaceful all the time, and she was just such a warm soul to be around. But even being like that, she really did make huge moves and huge discoveries and huge changes in the world. So I wanted to focus on that part of her life. And so I named this segment WWJD for What Would Jane
Jesus,
Do?
Right? What would Jane do, right?
Yeah, well, normally that's like an old term, but some people hope it used to be what would Jesus do? No, today it's what would Jane do? How would she approach, like I said, not even things just related to environment, but how would you approach things in life? How does Jane do it? How did she do it? So I wanted to cover and honor that.
As soon as I saw the news of her passing, and like I remember learning about her like since like elementary school, and I always am. One of my elementary school teachers said, her name says it all. Good. And I was like, I never really thought about it that way. I'm like, her name.
Yeah, it really
like such a good person in all aspects of life, right? And when I read the news of her passing, I thought of you first because you've mentioned her so many times on our program, right?
And how funny. We actually just covered the movie that she, the documentary that she was featured in, and it was about her. So I did think it was kind of full circle to kind of bring it back to her because we did cover it, but then, of her passing too, I think everyone's kind of reworking all the things that her accomplishments that she's done, and we're talking about her again. So I really wanted to dedicate a whole episode just to her.
Well, this is a great place to begin for people who have never heard of her, which is okay. That's okay.
Totally.
Who is Jane Goodall?
Yeah, and so a lot of people might not know because her lifespan work is quite a long time, and she's well known for her work with primates as a primatologist. So that means that she's somebody who studied primates in her earlier life, but she really made her mark on the world by becoming one of the most globally known and widely respected environmentalists, conservationists, and humanitarians. And she really focused on being kind to all living things.
Yes.
And she did this with an approach of trying to highlight connection. So, I always kind of preach this too, not telling people like, oh, don't do this, don't do that.
Right.
But really trying to foster this relationship between humans and animals and show how that connection relationship affects us all in our daily lives. So she really became a voice for the voiceless of these animals and these living things out there.
Yes.
And she began her early work as a research scientist at age 26 in Africa at the Tanzania Gombe Stream Game Reserve. And from the very beginning, her style of work was really different. So other scientists would give animals that they were doing research on numbers, right? So if they're doing research on a pack of elephants, there's like elephant number 1, elephant number 2. Jane gave all of her research animals names.
Right.
So it was a little bit different, right? She approached it in a human way of thinking of these animals as not just test subjects, as research subjects, as actual other beings that we're living with.
Sure.
So from the beginning, that approach just kind of says it all. So she had 6 months before her grant money ran out. So she had to do research on these chimpanzees. She went out there every single day and was quiet, and she approached it in a way of wanting to gain their trust and really immerse herself into their habitat.
Okay.
So really saw it as their world, and she went in there and was really patient and waited and would observe them time after time, and she saw that they actually had different personalities.
Yes.
So then she would go out there, and I want to note other scientists at that time would kind of go out with different African porters for like just a 1 month span, take as many pictures, videos as they could, and kind of go back. But a lot of people said in that kind of environment, if the monkeys feel kind of threatened, they will act differently. So Jane took a different approach, and she said, I'm going to immerse myself into their environment and really try and capture them in their natural habitat and see what they really act like. And so just before her grant money ran out in that 6 months, she discovered this huge thing. She found David Greybeard, which was one of the chimps that she was observing. David Greybeard putting a long grass stem into this termite mound and then eating the insects off of it. So this was the first documented tool use by chimpanzees. And this was a groundbreaking discovery that would lead to 65 years of research and studying and understanding of chimpanzees and their life. So this kind of taught people how to observe animals in their natural habitat and how to kind of respect them in their natural habitat as well. And then this catapulted a flurry of different kind of research projects where people actually took this approach instead and saw animals as kind, compassionate beings, right? And you see many pictures you might see of Jane Goodall as her like hugging these chimps or being embracing with them.
And this is in the wild, and you know that they would not treat her like that if they didn't trust her.
Oh yeah,
right.
And that trust takes time, of course, you know. So she really took the time to really go out there and let the chimps understand that she was there to help them and she was part of them, and they grew to love her. You know, you see videos of her like going out and they would come running to her to hug her. But this was a very different way to look at the animal kingdom. So she was able to show the world that chimps and other animals actually had feelings, actually had compassion, these things that humans only thought that we could feel. But she showed that chimps, when they meet again, when they've been separated and then they meet again, they actually come back together and they hold hands. They embrace, they kiss. So they actually have these feelings of companionship, of family, of relationship. And this was such a different way to look at animals because before then we didn't have any real evidence or research-based scientific facts to show that animals really did this. And so this urged people to protect these species even more, that they were worth fighting for. And so Jane left the African forests where she created these relationships with the chimps because she felt like it was her duty to go out into the world and show everybody what special species these were and how we had to protect them because she also saw how humans were kind of destroying their habitat. Right? And so she felt like it was her duty to go out there and let everybody know. And so in 1977, Dr. Goodall established the Jane Goodall Institute, which supports the Gombe research and began to be a global leader in protecting the chimpanzees and their habitats, and then became a global sensation in conservation. So in 1991, she also established the Roots and Shoots program, which is a global humanitarian and environmental program for youth and people of all ages. And this began with only 12 high school students in Africa, and now has grown to be in over 75 different countries.
Wow, it's global.
Yes. All over the place. And in 2017, she founded the Jane Goodall Legacy Foundation to ensure the ongoing stability of these programs, to make sure that even beyond her life, that these programs would continue to help those that don't have a voice or need that extra support.
But I love the fact that with her kindness, she put a voice and a face on all of these amazing efforts. Right? I mean, people who have heard about her and her work, they have nothing but good things to say about her.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so she really, put it out there.
Yeah, that's why I think she's so amazing, because she approached everything in this kind way, because, and especially for me too, it's really inspiring, because as someone who is always hearing all this news, especially nowadays, it's a lot, especially in climate news, it's a lot of negativity. It's a lot of bad, like we're doomed kind of thing. But Jane always had a way of showing hope at the end of everything. And so even her last film that we covered is called Reasons for Hope. And so if you guys have a chance to go out there and see it, I really recommend this, because, other than that, Jane actually wrote over 27 different books. She's been in other major films and documentaries, but she always focused on that one thing of hope. Of that even us as individuals have such an impact on this planet and can have widespread impact. So even when we feel like we're just one person and we can't do anything, we can't make big change, she always focused on that. She said, focused on what you can do in your community. If you think that undertaking this huge thing of like changing the world is too much, just focus on local. What can you do to make your local community a little bit better? And she really fostered that relationship. So especially with youth, she really thought that the youth had such a huge part to play in where the future of the world is going, of the earth is going. So she really funded a lot of rehab centers for animals, reforestation programs, education programs, and all about sustainability, agriculture, but mostly that relationship.
And so as we try to wrap up our segment soon, what is kind of like, in a nutshell, what do you want us to remember about her legacy? Something that we can do to further her good causes?
Oh, I think that, just like I said earlier, anything that you can do, no step, no action is too small. So I know on this show a lot we share, little tips that you can do, but also I think talking to your community, being out there, and if you don't know something, ask questions, do some research, but be a part of it, be active in whatever your community is doing. And I want to end with some really good, if we have time, some quotes from her, because this is one of my favorite quotes from her. And she said, "You cannot get through a single day without having an impact on the world around you. What you do makes a difference, and you have to decide what kind of difference you want to make."
What kind of difference you want to make?
Yes, because every one of our actions, it does have a consequence, right? So does that consequence, do we want it to be a positive impact on this planet or a negative one? So those are decisions that we can make, and together as a community, we can make it a better planet.
Well, thank you so much for bringing us a tribute to Dr. Jane Goodall. And of course, if you saw on our Note 2 page, I love the photos though of her with the primates, because I think it's not just about, it's a cute, chimpanzee. That's not the point. The point is, how much time did it take for her to be able to be considered family to them, right?
Oh, yeah. And I just think it's such a beautiful thing, because we look at animals as separate, like us and animals are separate, but she really kind of bridged that gap and showed that we do have a relationship and how common we are.
Well, thank you once again. And of course, we look forward to next week as well. So thank you, Bonnie.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Everybody, this was Simply Sustainable, a tribute to Jane Goodall. It's time to wrap things up on this Tuesday morning. So as I shared with you during our traffic and weather, it's going to be raining on and off throughout today here in Busan and elsewhere in the country. country. Be safe out there. This is In the Middle by Baek Yerin. Have a good one. Bye, everybody.